Let's set up Webpack so it processes this index.js file, and like I said, we're going to get a better idea of how Webpack works in general. So to get started, inside of my root project directory, so in products for right now, I'm going to make a new file called webpack.config.js. Then inside of here, I'm going to do a module.exports of an empty object, and the only thing we're going to write inside of here is mode development, like so. Then after that, we're going to open our package.json file, and I'm going to find the script section inside of here. I'm going to replace the test script with start, and we're going to have the start script just run Webpack for right now. I'm going to make sure I save both these files. I'll then go back over to my terminal, and I'm going to run that start script. So back at my terminal inside of the products directory, I'll do an npm run start. We're then going to very quickly see a ton of output scroll across the screen. It looks like something was built successfully. Okay, that's good. Let's really investigate what was created and what just happened behind the scenes with Webpack. So back inside of my editor, I can find a new directory inside of here called dist, short for distribution. And inside there is a main.js file. I'm going to open that file up. Now right away, you're going to see a tremendous amount of content inside of here. And the vast majority of it is probably going to be very hard to read and understand. That's totally okay. I just want to point out a couple of different qualities about this file. But first, let's take a look at a diagram very quickly. Okay. So we just wrote out an index.js file. Inside that file, we wrote out an import statement to get access to the Faker module. The Faker module is not just one single file. Instead, Faker is composed of many different files internally. When we wrote out that import statement, we were essentially saying that we wanted to get a collection of different files from that Faker module and make use of those different files inside of our index.js file. So we can really picture the code that we just wrote out as being like the left-hand side of this diagram right here. We created an index.js file and we imported into it a couple of different dependencies. We can see all the different files that constitute the Faker module if we take a look back at our terminal. So you'll notice that all these different lines are referring to different files within the Faker module. So I've got something around Faker, some more Faker. These are all files around Faker. So we can see very easily there's a lot of different files that are being included just so we can make use of Faker. Now, of course, when we start to load up all of our code inside the browser, in general, as a rule of thumb, we do not want to load up many different files. Instead, it usually makes a little bit more sense to load up as few files as possible. Now, there's a lot of different variations on that rule, and it's not a hard and fast rule, but in general, we don't want to try to load up hundreds of different files into the browser. And that's where Webpack comes into play. So the goal of Webpack is to take many different JavaScript files, which we have right now, even with one single dependency, and combine them all down to one single output file, which in our case was named by default main.js. That's the file we just saw inside of that dist directory. So that main.js file is the output of Webpack. You will frequently see that file also named as bundle as well. So that one single file contains not only the code from our index.js file, but also all those different files from Faker as well. If we go back over to our editor and take a look at the main.js file, we can scroll through here, and even though a lot of this code looks really confusing, you can see that there are references to Faker index.js, so that's the index.js file inside the Faker module. We can see some stuff around addresses and commerce and company. So these are all different files. All the different code inside these files have been extracted and thrown into these different eval statements. So you'll notice this eval function, if you scroll all the way to the right-hand side, it's a really, really long line of code. This one line contains all the code out of that one file inside the Faker module. So we can see very easily that Webpack has taken all the code out of these different files and essentially placed them into this one main.js file. We can find the code out of our index.js file if we go down to the very bottom of this file and then scroll back up just a little bit. And you'll see right here a comment for src index.js. So that is our file. So all the code out of our index.js file is contained inside this eval line right here. You will notice that there's a lot of extra code inside of here as well, just due to how Webpack processes our code. If you scroll over to the right far enough, you'll eventually see some stuff around creating that product string. and then our for loop, the body of the for loop, and then eventually the console log of products right there. So at this point in time, all I really want you to understand around Webpack is that we throw in some collection of files, it somehow combines all those files together into one single file, and we get this output named either bundle or main or any other couple of names. We can really name that file anything we want, but usually by convention it's called either main.js or bundle.js. Okay, so now we've seen a little bit around Webpack, let's start to expand a little bit more in the next video.